Hello everyone and welcome to Club Reaction to St Johnstone 1, Rangers 1. I am your host Scott Carney, and joining me to discuss an indifferent game, I'll call it, is first of all Ali Pearson.
How we doing, lads? That's 90 minutes of my life I won't get back.
And Scott Gemmell, how's it going, mate?
Evening, guys. You can tell it's the end of season, can't you?
Yeah, I mean, where to really start with that? Obviously, the kind of changes that were made, but we're kind of going to expect this. It is the end of the season. We are still unbeaten. The invincible season is still on in the league, obviously, and the referee decided to have probably one of the worst performances of his life, and I don't really want this to become a kind of referee bashing of the match, but some of his decisions tonight were crazy, and all of you will probably know Rangers conceded a penalty right at the end that probably wasn't a penalty, and they scored and made it one each. But anyway, we'll jump into it. We'll try and dissect the game. As I say, it wasn't the most thrilling, as Ali's just said. A very different starting 11 than we all possibly thought tonight. Certainly more changes than I expected. A few faces there on the bench, at least as well, that I presumed would be banned. Start 11 was McLaughlin, Tavernier, Goldson, Simpson, Barisic, Davis, Kamara, Hadji, Wright, Roof, and Itten. Ali, I'll come to you first. A bit strange that we had kind of Hadji, Davis, and Kamara in the midfield three, I thought.
Yeah, I especially when the COVID-5 were available, I thought maybe Zungu might have come back into it. And I thought Bassey would have started too, and possibly Parts. I understand why he started Tav, but it's a bit of a Kamara, Davis, Hadji, wee bit lightweight, to be honest. It was what it was, to be honest. I know we got the back line correct, Scotia got, I think, the front line correct, and nobody got the middle correct. So I think it'd be quite hard push to correctly predict that team, to be honest.
Yeah, Scotia, none of us were really close, really.
No, I'd mentioned to you, because we've not heard what the decision is going to be in the COVID-5, I assume Rangers have trained and prepared for this match under the assumption that they weren't going to be available. Hence why Zungu didn't even make the bench, did he?
Wasn't on the bench, no.
No, but I was thinking, actually, see, once we'd finished wrapping up the other night there, I think Hadji played in the midfield three. It was Cove Rangers he came on against, and he was playing in that kind of the front of the midfield three position, and I've seen people kind of speak about it, and Hadji's probably better centrally rather than wider, where he gets played in the top three. So once I had a rethink about it and seen that, I thought actually that would make a bit of sense. But I agree, you're never going to predict that team, given we're playing them again in the space of a few days.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. Actually, I'm really not sure how to feel about the game. Again, it's just the end of season thing, really. I expected a wee bit more, probably, to be honest. But we'll jump into the game. We'll try and pull something out of the first half. The first half was dreadful. In my personal opinion, it was horrific. Rangers were put under pressure from kick-off, really. A chance from a corner is thankfully hit straight at McLaughlin. St Johnstone then had the ball in the net, but it's ruled out for offside. Another corner then leads to a free header from St Johnstone, and they really should be scoring from that, to be honest. St Johnstone then break away. Simpson does really well to get back and cut out the square ball. If he didn't, it would probably have been a tap-in. But safe to say, Ali, in the first probably 7 or 8 minutes, Rangers hadn't kicked off yet.
No, they looked like a team that hadn't played together. That 11 we had in the park. St Johnstone were all over us. Had a few corners, a couple of right good chances to take the lead. St Johnstone probably should have taken the lead, but no, it wasn't a great start for Rangers at all.
No, Scotia, I was wondering when they were actually going to start putting the ball on the ground, start playing a bit of football, because they couldn't get a hold of it.
Yes, I mean, I think credit needs to go to St Johnstone for the way they started, to be honest. And they should. I think Melliman should really have knocked that free header he got from the corner in, and they should have been in front. Rangers just didn't turn up for that first wee period.
Not at all. Rangers then got a kind of chance on the 9th minute. Try to get something going. Wright and Hadji linking up well down the right hand side. Leads to a corner for Rangers. From the resulting corner, Simpson has a free header at the back post. He really should be doing better with it. points over the bar. Rangers start to settle in a wee bit. Almost looks like we're actually playing a kind of 4-2-4 formation, which maybe is leading to the kind of high line of our defence. Simpson does show a good turn of pace on him, and a long ball over the top, as well as McLaughlin playing sweeper keeper at one point halfway in our half. To be fair, it was fantastic football work from him, but he gave me the absolute fear when he was doing it. Really, on to 17th minute, Scott Wright is then cleared out by the hammer thrower that is Rooney. Only receives a booking for his trouble. It's deserved. There was no attempt to play the ball. This was to become a bit of a common theme in the first half. Probably really throughout the game. St Johnstone trying their hardest to stop Rangers getting going by making kind of persistent fouls. Rangers then link up really well in the final third. Scott Wright almost playing a playmaker role. In the final third, trying to get Roof and Itten and Hadji to link up, but no real chance comes from it. Then this is probably Rangers' best chance, if you can even call it a chance. Roof drops deep, picks up the ball just at the halfway line and pings a great floated pass over the top to Scott Wright. He may feel kind of disappointed with his touch. It allows Sander Clark to get out and gather the ball at his feet. But I was thinking at this point, Ali, that maybe we're starting to get into our stride, but for at least the rest of the half, but I think I was wrong.
Yeah, if it wasn't, we started to get our foot back in the game at this point. It was a great ball for Roof, to be fair to Wright's first touch. It was an alright touch, but it had to be bang on that touch, and it just gave the keeper just that wee bit to smother it. But I thought the front three didn't click at all, really, that first half. I thought Itten was non-existent. It just had the feeling of one of these, like Scotia said earlier, an end of season game with nothing to play for. We all know what's happening on Sunday, as if the players knew they knew what's happening on Sunday as well. They didn't really want to play this game. So, as a fan watching it, it was frustrating, but we're not overly bothered about this game, to be honest.
No, Scotia. What your thoughts on the Scott Wright chance? I think that's the only thing we can really get stuck into in this half.
Yeah, that was there was one other wee thing that I enjoyed. But that was an absolutely brilliant ball by Roof. Certainly the pick from a Rangers perspective. Certainly the pick of the bunch. The only other wee thing in that first half, I quite liked when McLaughlin turned into the epitome of a sweeper keeper when he came out, got the ball, and it was nearly at the halfway line before he released it again. That was the only other bit that I think you can take out in terms of us.
It gave me the feel, but I don't like seeing that. Like, I didn't expect him to do it. And then him and Simpson got a wee bit mixed up at one point as well, when Simpson was chasing back. But again, nothing really came of it. And the game does become a bit scrappy for really the rest of the half. Rangers were struggling to get any sort of decent passages of play going, and it was causing us to be really sloppy in possession. I think we were probably the happy of the two teams to get to half time with it being 0-0. So we'll just get to half time on that. The front four were struggling to get into the game, in my opinion. Simpson did look okay, as you would expect. Davis and Kamara in the middle of the park were kind of cool, calm and collected, as you would expect. Very much an end of season game, and I suppose with so many changes at half, so many changes to the starting 11 and the kind of half fit James Tavernier alley, it was kind of to be expected, really.
Yeah, and St Johnstone are a decent team as well. I mean, they're well drilled, well organised, St Johnstone, and we'll need to be up for it on Sunday. We'll come on to that, but no, he's got them playing. Davidson, they're a strong team. St Johnstone, like I say, organised. They know their jobs, and they're a hard nut to crack, to be honest. And yeah, Tav looked. I mean, you need to give Tav slack. He's not played in 9-10 weeks. His touch was way off at times. His final ball was poor, but you could say that about Borna as well. It was a very poor first half for Rangers, and I knew they'd get a kick up the arse for the second. Now, the only thing I would say on it is, made 7 changes tonight. If I'm one of those 7 players playing tonight, especially with a cup, we're in the cup at the moment, I'd be busting my arse to say to Gerrard, I want in that cup team to lift that cup. And I don't really think one of them really showed it today, apart from maybe McLaughlin. And he's never going to get in the team. Roof, potentially, but the rest of them, I'll take Tav out of that because he's been out for 10 weeks, but the rest of them, your Ittens, Hadges, didn't show enough for me at all. Wright was decent in patches tonight, I thought, but I don't think any of them really showed enough to get into that first 11. I don't know what your thoughts are.
I'd probably go along with you on that, to be fair, especially in the first half. You can't really, as I say, it's maybe only Simpson, McLaughlin. Again, Tav, you kind of give the credit. You understand he's missed 10 matches, I think it is. So you've kind of got to understand that. Davis and Kamara were good enough in the middle of the park, but yeah, the rest of them weren't great. Scott, your thoughts at half time, mate?
Yeah, I mean, we were poor, no tempo to our game, which I think comes down to the fact that you've made the 7 changes. And I'm certain it's still in their mind, even though we've got the unbeaten season to go for. The league's done. They don't really need to exert themselves. Imagine what that game would have been like tonight if, there was a few points between us and whoever was in second. So we were poor, and I think you have to give credit to St Johnstone. They played well. I mean, we're the two teams going for a double this season. It's going to be either St Johnstone or ourselves that'll get the double. So I think you have to give credit to St Johnstone. I think Ali might be being a wee bit harsh in terms of the players that won't get into the game for next week, because ultimately the fact is you've made 7 changes to the team, and the team's not going to have that cohesiveness to it that you would want, because you've made so many changes and people getting up to speed with everyone. I'm maybe in the opposite opinion. I thought Eton was okay in patches, and I thought in the first half Roof wasn't really there. That's just me personally. But it was. I thought you thought the Hibs game was bad last week. This was even worse, to be honest. But it's end of season; it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, and I think the real positive out of it is that we are still unbeaten. I think that's pretty much the only thing that I'm going to cling on to with this. And Scott Wright, which we're obviously about to come on to, obviously him getting his first goal for Rangers, chuff him about that. But we'll get into the second half. Well, obviously a lot more to speak about in this half, thankfully. Into the changes, into the second half, no changes from Rangers. But already the passing looked better, and pretty much anything we'd seen in the first half. I think at this point we were all really hoping for something to cheer about, especially us, considering we do podcasting, so it's nice to have something to speak about. First 5 minutes of the half, Rangers much more dominant in possession. St Johnstone still looking to catch us with a long ball over the top, and then the goal comes. Rangers take the lead on the 55th minute. It's a conspiracy. Rangers get the break of the ball with Davis picking it up, running towards the box, slips it to Scott Wright, who cuts in on his right foot and calls a great strike into the far corner of the net to make it, to give Rangers the lead. Sorry. A wee bit of luck at the break, obviously with Davis, Ali here, but it's a cool finish from Scott Wright, and I'm glad to see him get off the mark for us.
Yeah, we got a wee bit of joy with that, and like you say, 55th minute, can he script it? It's written in the stars, and I was delighted for Scott. And we've all said in this podcast, we're quite excited about Scott Wright. We would love to see the Kent Morelos Wright with the pace and power. He's obviously bulked up, as we've seen, the 4 kilograms he said he's put on since he's been at Rangers. I heard McInnes when he was on it was a Cove Rangers game, he was on the panel and he said he's just missing that final bit, which I think Gerrard's mentioned in terms of adding numbers to his game. And that was a great finish from him, and hopefully he can kick on from there, because he's right on the periphery of that squad, right, I would say. And it's hard to get in that front 3 because you're like Kent, Morelos and Aribo. I mean, Aribo came on tonight and showed why should be in that team all the time. And it'll be hard for him to get in that team, but no, I was delighted for Wright. And yeah, they started really well the second half, Rangers, and no, it was a good goal from him.
Yeah, it was a good goal, Scotia, and you could see what it meant to him when he scored it, definitely.
Yeah, it was a lovely wee well-placed shot, but I made the ultimate mistake of forgetting to turn off my Rangers app notifications. I don't know what service you were using to use the game tonight, but that came up, and then I had a whole minute to wait before the goal went in. But it was a lovely wee goal, and yeah, we did. You could see we've had the boot up the arse a wee bit at half time to go out a wee bit higher tempo. I'm glad for him, because they probably should do a wee bit better with his control with that Roof pass in the first half.
Yeah, I was chuffed for him. I predicted that he would score tonight, but I've been predicting he would score for the past, I don't know how many weeks that I thought he was going to play. So he was bound to score one of them, so I can't really take any credit for it. But yeah, no, chuffed for him. And then the penalty that wasn't a penalty that maybe should have been a penalty for one of the two things that might have happened in the box at this time. So a penalty is then awarded to St Johnstone anyway. That's what it looks like. The penalty is then overturned. Now, as I say, I'd love to give an educated view of this. Of this penalty claim, but I don't really have a clue what it was for. So the commentary that I was watching seemed to think it was for the handball from Scott Wright, and I've seen other people saying it was for the foul on Rooney by Barisic, even though it looked like Rooney was fouling Barisic. So anyway, the referee then runs over to the linesman and completely overturns it and gives a free kick to Rangers. Ali, is any of this a penalty?
Well, I watched it in Rangers TV tonight, and they thought it was for, like you said, it was for when Wright tried to clear it and it hit his arm or something. It was soft as hell. I didn't know what the referee was doing at first. I thought he's giving a penalty, and then I went, no, he's not giving a penalty, because you could tell by the players' reactions. And then he went, no, he has given a penalty, and I went, oh, for Christ's sake. And then he ran over to the linesman, who's obviously flagged in his ear to say, because he had a better view, to say, no, it's not a penalty. So need to give him credit there. He's listening to his linesman, but it was a wee bit of a kind of drama for a minute or so, because nobody knew what was going on.
No, it's goes. So none of this is really a penalty, is it?
No, I mean, I thought it was for the Barisic touching the boy. And I was like, if that's a penalty, that's even softer than the one Celtic got at the weekend against us. And then I'm surprised to see that happening in Scotland, that the referee is consulting a linesman and reversing a decision that he's made. I don't. Was it a free kick, or did it just go out for a goal kick? I think it might have just been a goal kick we got awarded.
Goal kick, yeah.
So well, he definitely points for a penalty, but I don't know what he's seen. And then he consults with his linesman, and then the linesman says, "No, what you doing? That wasn't a penalty." So yeah, a very confusing moment. Very confusing, but we'll move on from it. There's more to get into. Then Tav goes off. It's good to see him back. He goes off. Patterson comes on. He plays about 61 minutes, Tav. And then the referee, clearly rattled by the penalty decision or the non-decision, starts booking everyone that gives away half a foul. Hadji, Simpson and Wright were all booked in quick succession. Rangers make further subs. Wright and Davis come off, replaced by Arfield and Aribo. Again, say Scott Wright was decent in spells, definitely, and Davis just as professional as ever and probably deserves his wee 30 or 22 minute rest even. The Rangers really took control of the tie. We kind of dictated the play. Aribo now adding something more going forward as well. We then add Defoe to the mix, as well as Bassey, Hadji and Barisic coming off. So I'll stop just here just to discuss Hadji now. I don't think Hadji was very good tonight at all, sort of at any point. And with Scott Wright performing the way he's performing, Scotia, do you think Hadji's getting a wee bit rattled that he could lose out that kind of number one fringe spot for the front three?
Not really, because he was asked to play in a different position tonight than he would normally. Although he was playing quite wide, and like you said earlier, like it was a 4-2-4 almost at times we were playing. No, I don't think so, because Wright on his press conference came out and said, he's been surprised himself how much game time he's got this season. So I expect to see Hadji play a wee bit more than Wright will till the end of the season, to be honest.
Yeah, thoughts on Hadji tonight, Ali? And do you think, if you were to pick a team, would you pick Scott Wright or Hadji?
If I had to choose between the two of them at the moment, probably Scott Wright. I thought Hadji played in the periphery of the game again. I think he does in a lot of these games, Hadji. He's always on the edges of the games and giving a few stupid fouls away today. He looked frustrated at times, Hadji. And we've said it for day one. He's a moments player. He could be like that in a game, the whole game, and just come up with a wee bit of magic. And then you kind of forget about the kind of what he's not done in the rest of the game because he's done that bit of magic. And tonight he's just one of these players, Hadji. I don't know where we play him. Do we play him centrally? Do we play him out in the right where Aribo is at the moment? I don't know, but he's he's going down the pecking order again, Hadji. He was way down the pecking order at the beginning of the season, put his way back up the pecking order, and he was in the team round about Christmas time. And now he's starting to go back down the pecking order again, because you've got guys like Joe Aribo out on the right-hand side, because that's the only slot that's really up for grabs. And Joe Aribo's, to me, he's nailed that slot now. I can't see anyone else getting that unless you put Scott Wright out there, maybe. But aye, he's frustrating, Hadji, but unless we can possibly change formations to fit him in, I don't really know where he fits in this Rangers team at the moment. I know we sometimes play the kind of the forward, like the 3 and then the 1, and he fits in there sometimes, but yeah, I don't know about Hadji at the moment. I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, as I say, I just didn't think he didn't have enough impact on the game at all, and I don't even think he had a shot really, and I don't think he had a shot tonight. And as you were saying about Joe Aribo now playing out on that right hand side, I would be shocked if the only change made from the team that played against Celtic at the weekend would be Tav coming back. I think that's probably going to be the only change to the starting 11. Could be wrong. I don't know, but I think that probably will be the only change. But we're into the last 10 minutes of the match. Rangers were looking to press high up now. The ref was doing his best to get St Johnstone back in the match by not awarding free kicks to Rangers. Game's a bit stretched really at this point. A half chance for Arfield on the edge of the box, but it's easy enough for the keeper. And in the kind of last 5 minutes, Johnston's trying to have one last go. And then I've marked it as a half-hearted shout for a penalty, but just before we come on air, there yous both maybe think it was a penalty. I think on the slowed down replay, I'm obviously talking about the one that hits Simpson's hand. On the slowed down replay, I think it looks more like a penalty, but in real time, his arm's not out. It's not out with the silhouette, if you like. So for me, I don't think it was a penalty. Ali?
I thought out of the 3 shouts of penalties tonight, that was the best shout for a penalty. I thought when I seen it back again, because he does move his arm towards it slightly, it was similar to the one David Bates did ages ago against, I think it was Hibs or somebody at the time. Very similar to that. And they were crying for that one for a penalty. They didn't get it. And if it was me on the other side, I'd be claiming for that. I thought the laws of the game, I thought it was a penalty. But people can perceive it different ways in terms of the law. The law is what it is, but I thought it was a penalty, if I'm being honest.
Scott, penalty for you?
I'm kind of in agreement with Ali, to be honest. It's the strongest shout out of the lot of them. And although his arm is at his side, he does lean into it a wee bit. And it looks like a kind of almost forced lean in. So, yeah, it was very soft again, but not too many complaints, to be honest.
Yeah. Maybe we got away with one. I just thought it might have been a wee bit harsh. I think if that's in the St Johnstone box, we wouldn't get a penalty for it. So I think it might have been a wee bit harsh. But anyway, and then the referee then books, I think it's Kane, is that his name? He books him, and I don't think I've ever seen this. He books him for diving that's outside the box.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that in football before. I was like, oh, he's booked him for diving. I honestly don't think I've ever seen it. But anyway, at this point, I was kind of rounding up my notes and ready to finish up, and we're going to discuss a win. And then it's 93 minutes plus about 10, 12, 15 seconds, something like that. It's a penalty, St Johnstone. This is not a penalty, but as you would expect with the kind of shambolic performance of the referee with the rest of the decisions that he really made tonight, I'm not really surprised that he finally caved in and gave a penalty. St Johnstone obviously scored it, and the game finishes 1 each. But Ali, this is, out of all of them, probably the weakest shout for a penalty.
Yeah, I mean, to have 3 penalty shouts in a game, it'd be rare not to get one of them. And I think the referee had in his mind this one me and Scotia discussed, and I think that's why he gave it. Simpson gets a wee bit mixed up, but I don't think it's a penalty. But I would say just before that happened, Kamara Roof had the ball and tried one of the attempts that he did against, what do you call him, Standard Liège, instead of sliding the ball out wide, and we could have played out.
Yeah,
he shouldn't have done that, and none of this would have happened. But I mean, that's me picking holes in it. But he shouldn't have done that, and we wouldn't be talking about this penalty. But it wasn't a penalty. But like I say, I thought the second one was a penalty, and I can't begrudge St Johnstone getting a draw tonight. I thought St Johnstone deserved a draw tonight. I don't think Rangers deserved to win that game, if I'm being blatantly honest. I just didn't want Rangers to get beat tonight to keep the unbeaten run. As much as it doesn't bother me, the unbeaten run, but as long as they didn't get beat, I wasn't bothered. It's all about Sunday, and they deserved it, St Johnstone, but on that penalty, I don't think that one was a penalty.
No, Scotia, I think the wee smile from Gerrard at full time when it panned to him, I think that wee smile said it all about the end of this game.
Yeah, that was no way that one was a penalty. Out of them all, that's way down at the bottom. But yeah, as Ali says, the referees just went, oh, there's two with bigger shouts there, I should probably just give them it. And yeah, St Johnstone probably do deserve a point. You know, I'd mentioned previously, Livy get beat the night off of Hibs. That point takes them within 3 of Livingston. Have they played Livingston yet?
I don't know.
The last top 6. But that 5th spot, if we win the cup, that 5th spot gets you European football. So there is a wee bit to play for there. And I suppose they want to kind of put a mark on us and how the game's going to go on Sunday. I expect it to be far different, to be honest. But it is what it is. We've not get beat. That's, take that out of it. It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter. A much changed side, an end of season game. We won the league last December. I think we won the league. It was feels how long ago it was now, and you can't really complain. I think I'm just more annoyed at the fact that it wasn't a penalty. I know there was other shouts for it, but that one is not a penalty. It just isn't a penalty. But the referee gives it, and as it finishes 1 each. But the wee wry smile from Gerrard made me chuckle when I seen it at the end. So, gentlemen, we'll pick a man of the match for this. So, Scotia, do you want to go first?
Do I have to? I honestly don't know.
Do you want Ali to go?
Well, no, I've not got anyone to give it to. I think I'm right because he scored, to be honest. That's the only reason. I don't think there was many standouts.
Ali?
Yeah, I was struggling with Scotia. I thought John McLaughlin actually played really well, to be right. Really good with the ball at his feet, John McLaughlin. I know he
really good.
Ball at feet give you a fear, but he's really good at that. But if I was hard pushed, I thought the front three were in and out of the game. I would give it to Glenn Kamara. I thought, again, Kamara at times played really well. Him and Davis know what they're doing. When Aribo come on the park, Arfield, we changed into a different team. So, yeah, I get it to Glenn Kamara.
Well, see, I wasn't as hard pushed to... I didn't need to twist my arm really to make that decision as well, mate, that I would go with Glenn Kamara. I think Scott Wright was really good in spells tonight, as well as getting the goal. Davis was professional as you would ever expect, and Itten did come on to a game in the second half. He did his job really, really well. But for me, it was Kamara. I thought Kamara was class tonight. I really did. I thought his movement, the drop of the shoulder to relieve kind of pressure instantly. And when he moved into the kind of Davis role as well, when Davis went off, I thought he was brilliant at that as well. So the kind of massive pass marks for me tonight for Kamara. I thought he was really good. As I said, the rest you would be hard pushed to pick a man of the match out of them. But anyway, gentlemen, that will do us for tonight. We won't make it an extra long one. We'll come back on Friday and we'll do a wee preview of the game on Sunday. Obviously, this is the most important of these two ties by a long, long way. And again, I expect it to be a much different affair than the 90 minutes of pretty much dross we've just sat through. But we've managed to get to the end of our show, so happy days. Scott, thanks very much for your time tonight, mate.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Speak to you later on.
Cheers, Ali. Thank you for your time.
No problem. Hopefully, after the next time we play St Johnstone, it's a slightly more upbeat podcast.
Yes, hopefully it's a slightly more upbeat podcast, but you've got to do the good with the bad, mate. That's just the way it goes. So thank you to everybody for listening. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel, like the videos, leave us a wee 5-star rating on Apple Podcast. It really does make a huge difference. So we are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast, and we will speak to you all next time. Cheers.